Okay, this is a quick review on the FRQ from AP Classroom for Unit 2. As you get your scored summary back for that particular question, please take a moment to read through any of the comments that I've made. And ask questions if you have them. I tried to be as thorough and clear as I could. Remember, the first thing that you can do to really help yourself out on these digital versions, which the AP exam is going to be, is to make sure that you're using the same format as the question itself. So the question is formatted usually in an A, B, C, D, E format. And if you use that, you'll be able to clearly see that you have done each portion and completed your answer. Okay, so the stimulus for this question were India and China's population stats for 2018. And this is a pretty basic definition statistical question at the very beginning. So it's using the data from the chart. You have to use that data for certain portions of this question. So the first portion asks about how we're calculating rates of natural increase. RNI is calculated using crude birth rate and crude death rate. So you got the point if you used both of those things. If you used any other data from the chart, it was not correct. And it had to have both crude birth rate and crude death rate. If you wrote birth rate and death rate, that was fine. If you wrote CBR and CDR, that was fine, but it had to have both. In B, you had to describe TFR. TFR, total fertility rate, is the number of children a woman will have during her lifetime, or the number of children that a woman would have during the childbearing years. So as long as your definition said women, how many babies they're going to have, women, how many babies they're going to have during their lifetime, that was fine. In C, it says using India's rate of natural increase shown in the table, describe how to calculate the doubling time. You had to use India. Some of you accidentally used China here, and that made your answer wrong, even though you had the correct understanding. The question is based on the stimulus, the India and China chart, and tells you you have to use India. So doubling time is calculated by 70 divided by the rate of natural increase. The doubling time for India then should be 70 divided by 1.4, which is the RNI for India that we got from the chart, and therefore the doubling time would be 50 years. Okay. So 70 divided by 1.4 equals 50. You could have just said 70 divided by India's rate of natural increase. Preferably you actually write that since it's from the chart. All right, in D, it says, using the data shown on the table, describe the ability of China's population to replace itself over time. Replacement is related not to RNI, but to TFR. So now we're back to talking about TFR again as a stat. There are several of you who tried to use RNI here and it led you astray. So this is, some students would say, a trick question. China's TFR is 1.8. Replacement is 2.1. Therefore, China's TFR is below replacement. China will never replace its population because its TFR is too low. That's the correct answer. In E, it says, explain how China's population statistics are unusual for a country with an economy that is still in the process of industrializing. Well, you could have just come right out and said China's population stats are unusual because they are the largest country in the world. No other country is as large and has such an extreme amount of population growth. So that would have been fine. You could have just simply really played up the fact that China's population is big all around. Okay. The preferred answer would be that you discuss the fact that China has a declining population growth rate, or is approaching negative population growth, or is below replacement. These are all things that we expect of a post-industrial society, like the United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Japan. China is an industrializing country, one that is experiencing its industrial revolution. We expect it to be in stages 2 or 3 of demographic transition, not stages 4 and 5, but its population looks more like stages 4 and 5. That's the preferred answer, that you point out that China is industrial, and industrial should be rapidly growing population, but China doesn't have a rapidly growing population. It looks like post-industrial societies. Now, a word of caution. There were several of you who had the exact same strangely wrong answer. You talked about China's unsanitary factories and this being something that contributes to a higher than usual death rate or slows their population growth in some way. That's wrong. Okay, the unsanitary conditions miss out on the fact that it's the birth rate that's driving everything in China, and the fact that several of you all came up with the same wrong answer is troubling. In that, if this sort of thing happened on the AP exam, this would trigger an automatic investigation by the College Board. And if they found any evidence to actually link any of you to colluding on a question, this would be a major problem. It would cause all of those of you involved to lose your AP scores, and all of your AP and SAT scores that would be reported in the future to colleges would contain information that said that you had been involved in a cheating situation on the AP exam. So just be aware of that. I'm not going to dig into this because I don't have the technology at my disposal to figure out who did it and exactly how it all happened. But please know the College Board will. And it's been impressed upon me in every one of these online workshops that I've been doing about the AP exam that this is a big thing. Okay, so above all else, please make sure you're really paying attention to that stimulus, the chart, the map, the graph, and you're using the format ABCD to help make your answer more clear. There are several of you that lost some points here and there that I think that if you'd used that format, you would have seen that you didn't complete your answer. So at this point, I have all of the Bell 3 answers scored, and I'll be working throughout the day, Monday and Tuesday, to get all of the Bells 4, 5, and 6 answers in. For those of you that didn't complete this assignment, you are not getting yourself ready for the AP exam. Please take care of that. Have a good day. Keep working on your AP exam review.